We young and turnt for real. Nobody's about to stop you. And y'all are playing rock music. It's Cinco de Mayo. I'm an equal opportunity offender. If you want to start that podcast, use sense, but go ahead and start it, you know? Or somebody asked about dating, like, is it every day? Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, I'm Lola. I post lifestyle content here on YouTube. And as you can tell from the title, we're just gonna get into a little life update, chit chat type of situation. And yeah, if you're interested in what I've been up to the last month or so, keep on watching. So on Instagram, I asked y'all for some questions or topics y'all wanted me to cover. So we're gonna get into those. Got my Celsius. We're gonna chit chat about that and get into it. So in general, this last month has been like final season for me. If you don't know, I'm in grad school trying to get my master's of business administration. So it was really just like tons of papers, tons of stuff to like turn in and study for and all of that good stuff. So that on top of working, taking on a lead project manager's position as she was like on PTO for a couple weeks. So just making sure that I was like on top of stuff in terms of just like studying and work. So that's mainly the reason why I just haven't been on here as much, because like my days were low-key just starting to blend together, and I was just like, ain't nothing to vlog, ain't nothing to talk about, it's work and school, work and school. Speaking of work, one of the questions was, how am I creating work-life balance? And my thing is, I'm very protective of my time. Me personally, I plan out my days low-key by the hour sometimes. I work a 9 to 5. So that means that 501 don't ask me for nothing. I'm so sorry. And that is tomorrow's problem. You might get a little 8 to 5, a little 5-10 some days, but it's really not a regular thing for me to go outside of standard work hours. And that's just for my peace of mind, because like, well, I'm not trying to make my career or what I do my entire personality. I try to identify hobbies and other things that keeps me going, because I don't live to work, you know? So just having things that make you feel fulfilled outside of your job, that's kind of the first step in terms of work-life balance. And just communicating those boundaries with the people that you work with. Most people at work know that my classes start at 6. So between 5 and 6, that hour is super important for me to like wind down and just prepare for my classes to start at 6. So yeah, don't ask me for nothing after 5, because it's not gonna happen. So the next question is, if there was one thing you can have an unlimited amount of, what would it be? Money? Yeah, I don't have no profound answer to that. Everything in my life right now could be solved with a small loan of $1 million. Yeah. Now people talk about money don't buy you happiness. Give it to me and see how I'll be shining teeth, okay? Next question was about being a corporate baddie, a content creator, and balancing the two. So being a corporate baddie, that's so funny. Corporate cutie. It's really just about, for me, it's really just been about time management. And if you aren't following me on TikTok, go ahead and do that. I posted a few of my tips on time management over there. Yeah, it comes down to time management and just prioritizing what is the most important to you at the moment. So right now, my goal is to be like a big content creator eventually, but I know like in terms of funding that and just like financial security, I need to prioritize my job as well. So a lot of the times, my job is coming first, school is coming first, and then I'm wherever I can fit content creation in and show glimpses of my life in that way, I'll be able to do that. And hopefully as I grow on this platform and garner more of an audience, it'll become more easy to show some of the stuff that I do. While it hasn't been like super easy for me to balance both of them, especially with like work and school and trying to be a content creator, it's a lot going on sometimes. But that's why I felt like lifestyle was perfect for me in terms of just like what space in the content creator industry I wanted to be in, so I can show glimpses of like different things that I'm doing on a daily basis. And then just with like trying to incorporate more of my career into content creation, I've never wanted like my content to be about being a project manager or being in tech. Like I'll show some of that here and there, but again, I'm not trying to make it my entire personality. And look, I'm still working on what that balance really looks like. But I'm trying to lean more into showing like the benefits of tech and like stuff that I do sometimes. So I'm not trying to make any of my platforms about getting into tech, how to be a project manager. I might show that here and there, but at the end of the day, I'm a whole person. So I'm trying not to make my entire life be about what I produce, what I do, my career, and things like that. So yeah, still trying to find that balance. But yeah, just trying to show more of my personality and everything that makes me who I am instead of just like corporate work, school, and all of that. I'm not even sure if I answered the question fully, but it comes down to time management, prioritizing what's important. So if I really have these dreams of being a big time content creator one day, to fund that dream, I need to prioritize my 9 to 5 right now, and hopefully that shift comes somewhere along the journey. Speaking of work and tech and all of them things, someone asked if I'm worried about like tech layoffs that are happening right now. Not really, and that's just the nature of like my company. My job didn't lay off anybody during the pandemic. They've put out a statement that they're not laying anybody off right now, but they are adjusting like where some expenses are going, so just cutting back on different areas. So I'm not worried about my job and my security or anything like that. So I'm just really blessed to have a company that's like looking out for their employees like that. But just in general, the tech space is a little weird right now. So if anybody's like going through any of that, I always encourage them to upskill, learn something new every so often. I think I talked about that in one of my other videos about just like things I wish I knew before getting into tech. So even now, like even with that statement of, oh, we're not laying anybody off.
You cannot trick me. You cannot trick me.
I'm gonna still be doing what I need to do in terms of just like mock interviews, leveling up my skills, all of them things, just to make sure I feel secure and just like prepared for anything to go left if need be. Like I said, the company's just like readjusting where some expenses are going, cutting back. So one of the ways that kind of affected me this year is like we usually have 2 cycles of promotions, mid-year and end of year. And so we didn't do mid-year promotions, and that just kind of sucks in terms of just like leveling up in terms of role, but also just like not getting an increase in your salary. And that's just better than the alternative. So I'm gonna take that, but that's kind of how I've been affected during like this whole weird season with the tech industry. I had another question about moving up in my career. I feel like I kind of just answered that with the last question. Just making sure that you have your ear to the streets in terms of like trends that are happening in whatever industry you're in. It doesn't have to be tech, but just making sure that you're ahead of the game in terms of industry trends, what's happening, upcoming technology, and how that affects whatever industry or space that you find yourself in. And again, just upskilling every so often, updating your resume, finding out how to contribute to the culture at your job. I feel like, especially with like more people-facing roles, that's something that's not really talked about a lot. So like for me, when I was trying to get promoted, I needed to show up in terms of contributing to culture. So maybe plan something for one of your employee resources groups, find a way for all of the employees to get together, just do something that shows that you're not just worried about getting the job done, but you're also showing that you care about the interpersonal relationships that you have at work. So you got upskilling, contributing to culture. I think another good one would be to identify mentors or just like people that are like development coaches within your organization to kind of provide some guidance as far as things they wish they knew when they were in your shoes. And it doesn't really have to be somebody that's exactly in the same field that you're in, but anybody who's like maybe a director or somebody who is leveled up, who's moved up pretty fast, and you want to know how they did that in such a short amount of time. Just identify whatever skills and just like attributes somebody has at your job, and ask if you can shadow them, ask if you can like have a monthly meeting just to identify your career goals and work towards them every so often. The next question is about Charlotte updates. Do I still like it here or not? Personally, I still love it here. I came out here in August like 2021, so it's coming up on 2 years, and I feel like I had to give myself a lot of grace in terms of just like finding my people, finding what works for me out here, just being a single person living on my own in somewhere that's like relatively new to me. But I feel like I'm just now getting my bearings here. I have my community of people that I can go to. I have my solid girls. I got my friends out here now. In the beginning, it was kind of hard, but I feel like, again, just give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, and it takes a bit of time to get adjusted and get deeply rooted in different relationships. So I'm originally from Georgia, and the only place that's like really worth living and out there is Atlanta. And y'all know how Atlanta is right now. It's just a lot of rah-rah going on. So Charlotte compared to Atlanta, I feel like it's a lot calmer, slower pace, and it's just what I needed right now. So I feel like compared to that, it's been good. I also think I want to live in like Houston or Dallas eventually, but for the time being, I think I'm gonna be in Charlotte for a minute. I'm currently in the process of buying a house out here, and that's as much as I'm gonna say about that right now. I'll probably do another series about like home ownership, getting your credit together, all the things you need to buy your first house. I'll talk about that separately. But yeah, I love it so much. I'm about to be out here for a little minute. But yeah, it's been good. I would overall give it maybe like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. I just wish there was like a bit more diversity. How we go outside yesterday for Cinco de Mayo, and there's a lot of outside, you know what I'm saying? Like, where are the ethnic spots? Where is the authentic food out here? And y'all are playing rock music. It's Cinco de Mayo. Where are the people them, you know? So I feel like a lot of the activities and just like things to do are not really catered towards a diverse community. Like, they're out here, like there's a diverse-ish population, but they're kind of scattered. So it's like, oh, we got one Afrobeats club or one or two, but still it's not really substantial. Like, you're gonna be hitting the same spots up all the time. So I wish there was just like more diverse food, more diverse like activities and like social places for young people. But I feel like that's the main gripe that I have with the city. But other than that, I feel like cost of living is a lot better than a lot of places. The food is decent for what it is. Like, the activities are decent for like what Charlotte is. So not a ton of complaints, but I just wish there was more oomph. There was just a lot more oomph going on. Next question is about having multiple interests and not knowing which one to start. I feel like at this point in our lives, like if you're a 20-something, you start everything. Just start everything. If you have the time and the resources and it's not gonna burn you out, start literally everything that you wanna do. Just try your hand out at it and see what you like and what you don't like, what sticks, what's not for you. And I feel like there's low stakes, low pressure during this time. It's like, so what if you quit a hobby or just like an interest that you like? Like, I feel like you're not gonna lose anything by saying that you tried. Yeah, I feel like as long as you're not hurting yourself and you're being like financially smart in terms of just like pouring a lot of money into different hobbies, yeah, don't burn yourself out trying to like do a whole bunch of different things, but definitely take the time to explore all of your interests. That's really what I hope to bring with my channel, or just with my platforms in general. Just like showing that you can explore all the avenues of who you are. Like, we young and turnt for real. Nobody's about to stop you. If you don't have like a ton of external responsibilities as far as just like having children and things like that, I feel like now is really the time where you don't have to answer to anybody. So if you want to start that podcast, use sense, but go ahead and start it, you know? But anything that crosses your mind, I feel like if God put it on your heart, it's for a reason. So just try it out and see if you like it. And if you don't, I feel like no harm, no foul. You didn't really lose anything by saying that you tried. So yeah, and I wouldn't worry about like what other people have to say about like, oh, she's doing this now, she's doing that now. Like, I feel like life in general is about finding who you are as well, finding out what we're on this earth to do, finding out what our purpose is. So how you gonna figure that out without trying a bunch of different things and seeing what sticks? So yeah, just do it. Before somebody asked about dating, like, is it every day? But we could talk about it. They said, why does dating suck? I feel like social media comes into place sometimes with that. People think that they have more options than they really do, and they don't spend the time making sure that they're a good person in real life. That's one. Like, once you put the phone down, you have to go outside and realize that people actually know you, and you actually have to have a personality and talk to those people that actually know you and try to have a relationship with you in real life. So I think people forget that sometimes. Dating sucks in general just because people are trying to force others into alignment with what they want. And what I mean by that is, like, you have this certain preference, that doesn't mean somebody else has to adjust to fit your preference. The lighting just changed. sorry. Like, for example, someone could say, oh, I like men who don't have a fade. Like, I like men with locks. Men with fades will now come out the woodwork and be trying to convince her that her preference is wrong. And what's wrong with a fade? And you, this, that, and the third. I'm just like, just find somebody that likes men with fades, you know? Find somebody who likes you, and it doesn't have to be like this big debate. It doesn't have to be like this big discussion. Literally find people that like you and don't question your standards or your preferences or anything about you, and just like dead the conversation. I don't know. I'm an equal opportunity offender. Same thing goes with women. Like, guys can say something ridiculous. They be saying ridiculous things all the time. They can say something like, oh, I would prefer that my girl doesn't go out as often. And it's just like, that's a preference thing that you and whoever you're with can talk about. Like, find somebody who's already in alignment with you and stop trying to change everybody else. And why, I think another reason why dating quote unquote sucks is that people are trying to pick my words nicely. People don't know how to stay in their lane. Like, how can you ask for something from others that you can't provide yourself? So you want, and this goes for both genders. So you want somebody who's financially stable, has XYZ attributes, but you are financially unstable. Like, you can't do well for yourself. You don't have XYZ attributes. I feel like the energy that you're looking for, you should also put out there. And I also feel like that's where it causes some friction. Like, you're not doing the work, but you want somebody that's already like put together. And I feel like that's not how it works. But I feel like, yeah, that might be the main two that I see right now. Another question about dating, like, why don't women want a good man and why men don't want a good woman? Let's actually get into self-proclaimed good men and good women. I feel like there's a sense of entitlement that comes with that. And I'll speak from like the woman's perspective. I personally am always weary of self-proclaimed good men because there's a certain level of entitlement that comes with that. They think that just because they are good, or they think that they're good in XYZ ways, that gives them access into my space, or that just makes me obligated to mess with them. And I'm just like, you can be good, you can be as great of a guy as you want to be, but if I don't think that we align, if our personalities don't match up, if I don't think that what you qualify as good is good enough for me, I don't really have to talk to you. Like, and you can't be mad about that. You can't be upset and say that, oh, I don't want a good man. I don't want you. So, and I think that's all I'm gonna say about just like the good man trope in general. The same kind of thing happens with women as well. I was just listening to a podcast the other day that was talking about like good girl syndrome. Basically just like women who are also self-proclaimed good women, just because they do certain things or they don't do certain things, that they should be the top pick for men. Basically what the podcast was saying was that good girl syndrome, or that good woman syndrome or whatever, leads to a certain level of superiority complex, to where they start judging other women and just like feeling entitled to the male gaze. And life don't work like that. I feel like that entitlement kind of goes both ways for men and women. At the end of the day, anybody can get chose. So literally just live your life. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Just live your life. The last question is about my fitness journey and how I've been consistent. They asked about like specs and stuff. So I'm 5'4", I currently weigh 145. I'm really just worried about like body recomposition. So that means lifting 2 to 3 times during the week. I also started incorporating Orange Theory, and I love that. So I'm always advocate for it. If you haven't tried it already, go ahead and do that. You get the first class free. But that's been really great in terms of just like toning up my body. And I usually didn't hit my back muscles a lot, but every class you're gonna do something on the row machine. That's been really helping to the body. In terms of consistency, just setting up goals that are kind of realistic to you. So if you know that you have time to hit the gym 2 times a week, start there, and then increase the number of times that you can go. But just start somewhere. And again, don't let outside voices try to talk you out of starting or restarting the journey if you've already like if you've fallen off or anything like that. Another thing for consistency, just dress cute. Like I really feel like if you look cute, you feel a lot better. So yeah, get you some cute gym clothes. And find an accountability partner or accountability group. So I have a group of people that are into fitness as well. So we check in with each other every so often. And if we notice that some of us aren't checking in as often, we encourage each other, try to pull each other back up, give tips on how to get back onto the journey. But yeah, cute clothes, accountability group, setting goals, tracking what you eat. A lot of the times what we eat is going to hinder our gains. So I cut out a lot of sweet cocktails. I don't drink as much as I used to, and instantly like that helped a ton. But just tracking what you're eating. If you want to count calories, you can. I personally don't, but I do try to eat whatever I want, but in moderation. I can make a whole separate video about just like fitness stuff if you would like, but that's pretty much the highlights of my journey right now. Yeah. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I hope I made sense because I be feeling like I'm rambling sometimes. But if you have any other questions, I will try to answer them in the comments down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, all of them things, okay? And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.